Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Thedawnelizabeth, and happy Saturday. So I just finished teaching boot camp, and I was at boot camp and I was telling my clients about me getting bit by a snake. And what I was like, I did not know that you got bit by a snake. I remember a while back my client was like, I never knew that. So with that being said, we're gonna have story time today. So a lot of people may not know it, and if you don't know it, I am a statistic because I got bit by a snake. I got bit by a snake, let's say maybe 2 years ago. Yeah, maybe a little bit over 2 years. It's a little bit over 2 years. I got bit by a snake, and literally the snake bite is what pushed me towards my weight loss journey. I feel like everybody has that moment where something happens to them that sparks that, that sense of, okay, I want to change. And I think that snake bite did it. So without further ado, go ahead and play me in the background, tune into it. I will include some pictures so y'all can see. Beware, it looks very disgusting. So beware of how this is about to look. So let's get into this story. Okay, so I was a sophomore in college, and I just want to give y'all a little background story. This was me as a sophomore in college, baby. I was living. And when I say living, I literally probably barely doing my work at college. I was going to the University of Texas at Austin. I was barely doing my work at college, spending all my money on weed and food. And I was passing my class, but I wasn't giving it 100% effort. I literally was just going to school because that's what I felt like I had to do. I literally waited till the last day to sign up to go to school because I literally just never even thought about going to college. I didn't think anything about it. So one day I went in a counselor's suite and I saw everybody like rambling, like, oh, I got to do college application. So I was like, oh, I haven't even thought about where I'm going to go to school. But I was number 2. I graduated the salutatorian and number 2 in my class. So I was automatically accepted to the University of Texas at Austin. So boom, that's how I got there. Anyway, so yeah, spending all my money on weed and food, no purpose in life, to be honest. I had no purpose. I was doing makeup, really was good at it. I started doing makeup like my senior year in high school, grinding. Literally all I knew how to do was work. I was doing makeup 5 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. I had a curfew at 10 o'clock. So after I got finished doing makeup, I didn't have time to go do me. I just worked. That's all I did. So when I got to school, freedom, baby. No parents, no responsibilities, no nothing. Literally, I could do whatever I wanted. And that's exactly what I did. So me and my friends, we decided to go on an adventure one day. And I know I'm the type of person, I pick up on cues real well. Like I feed off energy, and my intuition is very, very strong. Like if I feel like something not right, I don't be quiet about it. I speak up on it. I don't let it fly. So me and my friends, we do the same thing. We used to always go to Papa Do's, eat up all the bread. Literally, we would eat up all the bread at Papa Do's, tear it down, go in there, eat up all the bread. And we pretty much just did the same thing. Chilled in the room, ate Papa Do's, or went to Whataburger. Same thing every day. And so one weekend, me and my friends was like, well, let's say not me and my friends. My friends was like, ooh, let's go to the 360 Overlook. So if you don't know what the 360 Overlook in Austin is, here's what it looked like. So it's like a short hike, maybe like 5 minutes up, maybe 10 minutes down, because you got to be careful because you will fall. Because my friend fell, bust her ass on the way down. Thought it was so funny. Literally till we know what was going to happen when we got to the end of it. But anyways, so remind you, y'all, I had on slides. I had on some Michael Kors slides. And I was like, y'all, I don't think this is a good idea. And they was like, no, this is going to be fun. We don't never do nothing fun. We don't never do nothing fun. So me not trying to be the party pooper, I was like, okay, let's do it then. But the whole way there, I'm just getting this funny feeling like this ain't gonna be right. This gonna be right. And remind you, on the way there, I was sober. So I'm literally overthinking all in my head. So when we got there, my friend's trying to find a parking spot. So it's like a street where like you park right in front of where you enter the mountain. And then it's the next street where like extra cars park when there's no parking right there. So she parked at the extra street. So I'm like, friend, I don't think you should park right here. Let's park closer so when we get out the mountain, we could just hop right in the car. She was like, no, I want to park right here. This is fine. So my head like, okay. Just keep, y'all, make sure y'all keep up with the story so y'all can see how this play out. So we hike up to the top of the mountain. We get to the top of the mountain. We smoke. Get high. So I'm sitting on top of the overlook like, wow, this is beautiful. And I think I really like getting high back in the day because it made my life feel like a dream. Like, imagine walking on the 40 acres, seeing all these kids going to college, going to class, walking around with their backpacks. I grew up in the hood. So being in Austin, seeing all that, I was like amazed. So going to class high was like me in like a Hollywood movie. I thought I was in a film literally every single day of my life. So once I got to the top of the overlook and I got high, I was chill and I wasn't even worried about it. I was like, oh, this wasn't a bad idea. This is a beautiful look. Like, I feel like I was on top of the world. You know, I don't know if a lot of y'all smoke, but you know how when you be high and you do something that you never did, you be like, wow, like, this is beautiful. Like, imagine waking up in California and you don't live in California. It's your first time in Cali. Waking up high, looking out your balcony and seeing like beautiful mountains. When you used to looking at parks and streets, bicycles, this simple shit. So that's how I felt. I was like, wow, like this is a movie, this is a dream. And I had texted this guy that I was talking to and I was like, if I don't make it down from this mountain, just know I love you. Just on some high stuff, you know, just on some high stuff. So after that, the plan was we was going to go hike the mountain, go to Papados, and then my friends were going to go get some tattoos. I wasn't getting no tattoos because that wasn't my thing. But now, tatted up, y'all. I got some tattoos now. But at the time, tattoos was not for me. I wasn't down with that. I be down for stuff, but the tattoos, I wasn't down for. So I'm like, oh yeah, y'all, we're going to go to the top of this mountain. We're going to get high. We're going to go to Papados. We're going to mess this bread up. And then we're going to go. And then we're going to be done with the day. And we're going to do something different. That's something that we don't usually do. So now it was time for us to go down. So we high as hell trying to get down the mountain. Bad idea. That was really a bad idea. And what's crazy was when we was on the top of the mountain, this couple was up there smoking as well. They was like, hey, y'all, we not going to finish this. Do y'all want this? They gave us a sweet. We was happy. We was like, oh, they giving us free weed. Me today would have not took that weed. That's how I know that I am a different person now. I would have not took that. But young, living free, doing whatever. No, just not even thinking. Took it. We smoked a little bit because it was just a little piece. So as it was on our time to come down, we was going down real slow. It took us forever to get down because we high, trying to pay attention real hard. Not all the way there. Boom, my friend bust her ass. We laughing, dying laughing. We just goofed out. You know how when you be high, everything just be funny. The littlest thing be so freaking funny. So we getting ready and we get out the mountain. So we make it all the way out the mountain. Remind you, I said she parked on the next street. So we walking to get ready to go to the next street. So we get to the light before we get ready to cross the street, before it's time for us to get to the car. We all standing at the light. When I say we all literally like this, standing right next to each other. So we waiting, talking, just talk about how fun. We was like, bro, yeah, I'm so glad we did this. It was a good idea. We did something out the box. This is nice. This is fun. So the light thing turned for us to walk. And I take a step. I was like, damn, I stepped on something. It felt like I stepped on some glass. I was like, damn, I think I stepped on something. So I looked down at my feet. I'm shaking it. Shaking. And I'm like, okay, I'm tripping. Still high, y'all. High tripping. I'm shaking. Then I'm like, damn, I'm thinking in my head like, damn, this glass stuck in my foot. Because remember, I had on slide. I said, damn, this glass stuck in my foot. So I'm steady shaking. And next thing you know, I see something fly off my foot. Remind y'all, I'm high, so all this seemed like a movie. I'm like, bro, is this a dream or is this for real? I'm tripped out at this point. So I see something fly off my foot. So I'm like, what the hell is that? So then it would fly, it land. Next thing you know, it's like me and the snake made dead eye contact. It went like this movie, y'all. I thought I was tripping. So the snake landed on the ground. Me and him made eye contact, and he kind of like opened his mouth at me like, I said, y'all, it's a snake. We all took off running. Boom. We all took off running across the street. Remind you, I just got bit by a snake. It still ain't hit me. We all took off running. My friends left me. Remember, I'm heavier, so I'm trying to run, but I can't run that fast. But I'm going. I'm like, let me get across this street. So we get across the street. We hurry, we get in the car. We like, whew, breathing hard, out of breath. Breathing hard, out of breath. We get in the car. I'm looking at my foot. My foot is bleeding. It wasn't bleeding bad, but it was bleeding. And I was like, damn, y'all. I really got bit by a snake. So they like, what do we do? What do we do? I'm like, y'all, I don't want to go to the emergency room. We high. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Because remind you, it only felt like I had stepped on a piece of glass. So I'm like, y'all, no, I'm good. I'm good. It'll be okay. Not really thinking, because it reminds you, like, nobody I know had ever got bit by a snake. Like, literally, let's check the statistics. How many people in the world get bit by a snake? That's not just something that happens on everyday life unless you just live in, like, mountains or if you just hike. And I went to camp, and we hiked for, like, 4 days straight. Never got bit by a snake, so I didn't know. I feel like I was on set it off. What's the fucking procedure when you get bit by a snake? I didn't know what to do. So I'm sitting in the car, and all of a sudden, my toes start shutting down. My legs start shutting down. I couldn't feel my foot. And I'm like, maybe I'm high overthinking, but I cannot feel my foot. I'm like, y'all, I can't feel my leg. I can't feel my toe. I said, we got to go to the emergency room. So we get ready. We go down, and I'm just sitting there in a wheelchair like, I cannot believe this happened. Didn't want to call my mama because I know my mama was going to be tripped out. Like, John, what? Why are you calling? It was late. It was getting a little late. I called my mom. I said, Mom, you won't believe what just happened. She was like, what? And my mama hyperventilated because all she do is watch the news. She watch the news all day long. So she hyperventilating like, what? What? I could call her and be like, Mama, guess what? She like, what, done? Don't do that. You scared me. I said, Mama, I got bit by a snake. She say, what? I said, Mama, I got bit by a snake. And she was like, so what you gonna do? I said, so I'm going to go to the hospital. I went to the hospital, and everything was still fine. So they was just watching my foot over time, just making sure that, you know, that they didn't have to give me the anti-venom, because the anti-venom supposedly had real big side effects. And I wasn't in pain, so I was just chilling. I ain't never been in the hospital before. My mama always self-medicated. Anytime we got sick or anytime we needed to go to, it was a possibility we needed to go to the doctor, she always healed us at home. So I wasn't used to being in the hospital, baby. I was loving it. Getting treated. People started coming to ask me, was I'm okay? I think I'm kind of a hypochondriac because I overdo stuff. If I feel like I'm sick, I will overthink it and start thinking I'm really sick. That's the type of stuff that I do. So when I was in the hospital, I was living it, baby. I was in glory. I really wasn't in pain, so I was like, okay. So eventually I was like, okay, well, you know, you look pretty fine. If you're not in pain, then we'll let you go. So my friends, we like, okay, Mom, I'm still talking to my mom. I'm like, okay, well, you know, because they stay in Houston. She like, okay, well, maybe we don't draw down there. She should be fine. Because remind you, we don't know nobody got bit by a snake, so we don't know what's the procedure. So then we get ready to go home, and we get back to the dorm. So they wrap my foot up and everything. We get to the dorm, and I'm chilling. I'm like, we just reflecting over what happened. And they like, bro, we cannot believe you got bit by a snake. And I'm like, I told y'all this was a bad idea. Just like I told you to park by the mountain. But it's nobody's fault. We was being spontaneous, and sometimes stuff happens. Why to me? I don't know. God, thank you, because that's literally how I got where I am today. So then all of a sudden, I guess the high wore off. The high wore off. And I literally was in so much pain. Like my toe was throbbing. Like it was like the worst pain that I had ever felt in my life. Like I haven't broke anything. I haven't like fell, broke an ankle, broke a arm. I'm not gonna say never. I haven't experienced anything like that. So that type of pain, I didn't know how to deal with it. So I ended up going back to the hospital. And at that point, when I got back to the hospital, I told my mama, I'm in so much pain. And I'm a mama's girl. Like, anytime I would be in college and I start my period, I'll be like, I need to come home. I cannot do well when I'm under pressure. I cannot do well when I'm in pain. So I'm like, Mama, you need to come right now, Mama. Come right now. And remind you, it's dark. It's like 10 o'clock. So my mama coming from Houston. It's about a 2.5-hour drive. They come in. And by that time, I made it to the hospital. And I started to get addicted to them drugs. That I said, as soon as I was in pain, I said, y'all, please put some more stuff in my arm. I said, I promise, if I would have stayed there any longer, I probably would have got addicted to whatever the stuff that was put in my arm. Anyway, that time I felt the slightest pain. I said, y'all, give it to me. And they kept giving it to me. I was feeling good. So by that time, they discharged me, and I got in the car with my mom, and my friends was like, oh, they were so sad, because we would have never thought that would have happened. And my cousins, they went to UT as well, so they were still down there. So they all was at the hospital. I felt like so overwhelmed, because I'm like, y'all, this is too much attention. Why am I a patient? Why am I in the hospital? I was just trying to have a good day and have some fun. We could have just went to Papa Do's like usual. We had to go to this mountain. We had to go. So I'm over here thinking, like, how could I have redone this so that this wouldn't have happened to me? But part is, you can't live in the past. It already happened. But even to backtrack, like maybe a month before, I had just lost my best friend. My best friend, we was like this. And when I went to school, he was so mad at me because he was like, why'd you go to school? Why'd you leave me here? Whatever, like that. So when I lost my best friend, I really didn't deal with it as much as I thought I did. I was just smoking all the time, putting all my feelings back. So I didn't really deal with it. So when I came home, because I really couldn't walk. As y'all can see the pictures, my foot the thing on my toe began to swell up literally by the hour. Like, it kept growing and growing and growing and growing. It wouldn't stop growing. They had marked arrows on my toe to see how the bite grew over time, and it all was like all on my big toe. So it was so much pressure on my foot that I had to walk to the side. And remind y'all, I was 311 pounds. That's a lot of pressure to be on one leg and on one side of my foot. Like, it was so painful. So once I got home, my mom was like, okay, I'm gonna take care of you. But remind you, they all had to go to work. I was at school all the time, so they all had to go to work. And when I say I never realized how much I didn't deal with my problems until I was on that couch in my living room in pain at home by myself. My mama came and checked on me a couple of times because she worked right across the street. So she came and checked on me a couple of times. But I literally was so depressed, so in pain. I think I cried every day for a week straight, asking God to please heal me. You know how when you be on your lowest, you be in pain, you be trying to negotiate with God, like, God, please, if you take this pain away, I promise. Kind of like how I used to be with my stomach would be hurting real bad on the toilet, like, God, if you please take this pain away, I'm gonna be good, I promise. I ain't gonna do no wrong no more. And I just wanted all that pain to go away, and it wouldn't. I was like, please take me back to the hospital so they could pump it in my arm through the IV. The pills that they had was prescribed me, it wasn't working. And the worst part was getting through the night. The night was the worst part, because during the day, I take a Benadryl, try to go to sleep. But literally, as soon as I'm ready to lay down and go to sleep, the pain will literally be unbearable. Like, my foot would be on fire, throbbing, throbbing, throbbing. So I had to deal with that for about a week. Then by the end of the week, my mom was like, okay, my dad was talking to a nurse at his job, and she was like, y'all gonna have to bust it, because it just kept growing. Like, I always thought, like, if we was to not bust it, what would happen? Like, how big would it have got? And I was like, I don't want to see it get that big, because it was already huge. As you can see right here, it was literally huge, like humongous. And my foot, all that pressure was just like a ball in my foot, and I feel like I couldn't breathe. I'm so dramatic, y'all. Like I said, I'm dramatic as hell. I couldn't deal with it. So it came to the time for them to bust it. So I think I got a video to show y'all. So my mama, all she did was poked it with a needle. She poked it with a needle, and then she was like flushing it. I don't know what, y'all. I wasn't even paying attention. I was like, please just get this out of my foot. And I was just praying and hoping that I had a toe once it was over, because I didn't know what my toe was going to look like after this, because it looked horrible at the moment. And when she busted, it was like all that pressure was like a release. It was like a relief, y'all. Like imagine, I can't even imagine, I don't know what it was. It was just like a big ass relief. It was like, it was so painful. It was like everything at like a head and just like releasing. But it was painful because it was releasing real slow. It like shot out like when you pop a zit and it just squirt out. But it squirted out for a long time, because that was a lot of fluid right in my foot. So then once it peeled, my mama had to cut the skin off. She was cutting the skin off so that it could open up. And then we just put it was like this Vaseline, I don't know what it's called. It's this stuff that we put over my toe so that it can make the surface of my toe hard so that the skin can heal over it. And y'all never guess what happened once it healed all the way. So once the skin got hard and it healed all the way, I started to peel like a snake. I said, I think I'm a snake girl now. Like look at the shirt. I'm a snake girl now. So my toe literally peeled. Like everything peeled from my whole toe, my toenail, everything came off. Everything came off. But while that week while I was down, I was like, y'all, I promise when I get myself together, I'm finna change. I didn't know what change I was gonna make. I had no idea. But I knew when it came to me, because when I got back to school, and this was when it was still healing, when I got back to school, imagine trying to walk around campus with a boot. I was already 311 pounds. I was tired walking with 2 feet. And it's so crazy because before this, I always used to complain about how tired I was walking. And it just made me realize that you can never take for granted being able to move, being able to have 2 feet to walk. And I took that for granted. And now I was walking with a boot, tired as hell, trying to get to class on time. My teachers and my professors had no remorse for that week that I missed. And I know in one class I had like a quiz every single day. And remind you, I told y'all my best friend had just passed away. So I missed that week of school. My grades was horrible. Luckily, I passed all my classes with like C's and D's. I didn't fail anything, but I barely made it through that semester. That was the worst semester of my life. And I told myself, once I came back from that, I was never going to go there again. I was never going to be down at my lowest like that ever again, and I haven't been there since. So once my toe healed, it took months. It took me a long time for my foot to just regain that strength and for me to be able to walk flat on my foot again. Once that started, I said, okay, it's time for me to work out and get right to get tight. I said, I want to be healthy. I said, if it's just so I ever get into the predicament where I got to walk on one foot again, my one leg going to be strong as hell. I told myself that my one leg is going to be strong enough for me to get through whatever I got to get through. And when I healed, look at your girl now. Down. Weight gone. On my feet, strong as ever. Stronger than I ever been. So really the moral of his story, this long story, the moral of the story is sometimes you never know what God be trying to tell you. And sometimes you don't even try to understand it. Don't try to question it. Don't ask why. Don't ask, like, why is this happening to me? Sometimes ask, why is this for me? Like, what is this going to do for me? Why? Like, and I never really understood it because literally we were all right there by each other. Like, it could have been anybody that got bit by a snake. But I feel like this was God's way of telling me to sit your butt down. Sit down, done. You moving around, you think you're dealing with stuff, but you're not dealing with stuff. And now you just gotta face it. And so at that point I realized, okay, now I cannot use weed to deal with my problems anymore. I can't use it to suppress how I feel because it only come back 10 times harder. Like that week, I called myself, I said, but I think I went to rehab. I couldn't sleep. I didn't have no appetite. I didn't want to eat. I was sick to my stomach. So that concludes story time. This is a crazy story. I know, like, I'm really a statistic and I really can't even believe it today, but it happened. And that's the end of the story. So if you do not know this story, you just got it today. And I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. And don't forget to subscribe to your girl channel because we might have another story time. I'm trying to think of any other interesting stories I have to tell y'all. But when I think about it, I will come back with some more stories. And with that being said, please come back and mess with your girl. Peace out.